Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is the poker coaching study session. Today we're going to be doing some poker. So let's dive into it.
All right, so we're gonna do some cash hands, and first one is going to start with just a few that I marked over the past year that for whatever reason I thought were interesting, and then we'll go on. So hopefully this one won't kill me. Hopefully I will fold this. Let's see. There's my fold. Eights raise extra big, um, probably because they're eights and scared. We get a call from tens. Most of us think that this should be a 3-bet and not a call, but if you have a calling range in the cutoff, tens could be in it. And now the sevens should absolutely call even to this bigger size and go for the set mine. But they don't. Sevens go for a squeeze.
Interesting squeeze choice and small
Right.
size.
Yeah, the squeeze is your squeeze is a little small.
I'd go to so I think a default against 2.5 is 14. So I'd go 15.
I would say that's against 3.5, it's going to be 17 because you want to take three. Oh no, you're right. 14 plus ours. So 17 and a half plus his half, 18.
Okay.
We're going pot size plus the size of the bet.
Yeah, if this was a 3x raise and a call, this would be 15 minimum.
Yeah. So at 3.4, 18 to 20, we think. Happy days.
Sexy. Sexy life choice.
The eights folding here doesn't seem terrible because he doesn't know that the tens aren't going to do something weird. They probably aren't, but he doesn't know. But the tens seems too tight to fold here, right?
Can you fold the eights? Let's see what his pot odds are.
His the eight's pot odds are
23%, right?
yeah. That's getting there though. He thinks he's set mining, but he's set mining and he has a small chance of not seeing the flop.
Then let's not forget he's in position.
He is in position, but his call also brings this guy's call in which case he's against 4 overcards.
Oh, I was talking about tens. So
yeah,
I think
tens I think tens is a tough. I don't think the tens fold is.
I think I would call the tens here, especially against the smaller size with the dead money, right? There's more dead money with the bigger RFI.
Right. And look at it. You're calling less than 8 more. But you're calling, yeah, sorry, 8 point, sorry, we're calling 9.4 more. And he's got 84 behind. That's pretty close to 10 to 1. Plus the money already in the pot, that's 10 to 1.
Yeah, I think I lean towards a call.
Yeah. And tens are tens. I mean, so there we go. That happened. Skate, you're up. If you're unmiked, Skate's there.
All right. Let's fold around to, yeah, big blind takes it.
That's what should happen. What's gonna happen?
Yep.
I don't know why this is marked. I have no idea why that's marked. Okay, let me just look at this world and see what's going on here. I apologize.
It's all right.
This is right, so it's
You just got the 4 regs here, no worries.
right. It must have just gotten a weird mark for some reason. Okay, here we go.
It's very easy to mistag a hand and then
Yep,
if you're
all right.
playing a couple tables.
Larry,
Uh-oh. So I think King 8 can open. King 8 can open. Queen Jack in theory is a 3-bet fold.
and by the way, this
Probably
Queen Jack is a fold. In GTO Wizard, this Queen Jack is a fold. It's a raise,
yeah, I guess it's a little early.
cutoff
isn't it?
versus hijack. It doesn't, the Queen Jack only comes in the cutoff versus hijack. It doesn't do any of the other ones. And just to show you that, so you guys can remember this, I say this just because I just happen
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah,
this
you're
was
right. A little
week.
bit too early.
Yeah. Study any spot you want. Here we go. So when the hijack fold you,
Low jack raise.
right? But I'm just saying when the hijack raises in your cutoff, there's your Queen Jack pure, right?
Mhm.
When the low jack raises, there's your cutoff. You get a little bit of queen jack in there. And those are the only queen jacks.
Hmm.
Here, you got no queen jack. And in the hijack against the low jack, which is the next best place you could be, right? That's the next most aggressive place. No queen jack. So the only queen jacks come in are hijack and low jack, pure and then mixed. And now you know that.
Cool.
Right, but that's not what's gonna happen.
He's got flat. Okay.
Yeah, so he flats. In Joey land, our raising range here is going to be move ourselves up 2 positions. And can we call from, and could we raise this in 2 positions earlier? King 8 suited? We absolutely can. And then sometimes take the top half of that, in which case King 8 suited goes away. But if you're choosing to do the more aggressive one, because this guy's a serial limper and we already know that his range is bad because we've seen it, then you can do your pure range from 2 here, which King 8 suited raises. Or if you want to get super aggressive, you do your regular range from your current position and ignore him, in which case King 8 suited is a raise. And I do that. What a party. Now what should happen? It's on you, Skate.
All right. I I missed the the pre-flop action. We raised in the.
The
Okay,
7-10 limp, we raised queen jack flatted, 7-10 called.
okay, no. I was here. I was here. I was just um. All right, so king 8 raised. I think we should Okay, I see what's going on. So 7-10 raise. Sorry, Scotty, can you help me again? 7-10
Yeah.
raise and king 8. Okay.
No, we went like this. 7-10 limped, king 8 ISO'd, queen ISO'd to 4.5, queen jack called, and then 7-10 complete, called. Now we're in a 3-way pot. He's the first to act. What did we learn in our DTO study about first to act?
Out of first to act, they're gonna be out of position, so they're gonna check.
Check pure. So the reminder, even the one thing we got from our DTO study that we feel very confident is that this guy has a pure check range with, against, on every board, on every hand, on every flop, even though every flop and every board is the same thing. And he knows this, all right? What's Hero thinking now? It's you, Skate?
Well, he was the aggressor, so I mean, we do have some backdoor potential. The queen is better for us, so I think we can bet.
Okay.
Should I say if we are gonna bet or not, or?
Yeah. Well, no, say whether you think we should. So we can to decide whether you think we should or not.
I think we can. We have one over. We have backdoor. I think we should.
Okay. I think we shouldn't. And the reason is not because I see that queen there, is on the simplified Jonathan Little lesson, which is in a multi-way pot, if you don't have it, someone else does until it's gone check, 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 and you find out they don't.
That is true.
But it is a funny thing when you say have it. We do have an over. We do have backdoor straight in 2 directions, a shitty direction and a good direction. And we have a back flush. I think in a 3-way pot, where we inflated the pot, so he called with a tighter range, you would assume, than his regular calling range. I think that those 3 things are not enough its here. They would be if we were in ultimate position. If we went check, check, we could take a stab with this. I don't think we want to do it for middle. And since it was me who played it, I hope I check. I do.
Yeah, I see your reasoning a little bit more now. I think it is a better default, and I think betting may get you in a lot of trouble.
I mean, is it safe to say that if you're in the middle of the sandwich, this is an awkward pre-flop configuration, but I think a safe heuristic is if we're in the middle of the sandwich, we're gonna do a lot of checking.
Yeah. But not pure. there are bets in second position. There are no bets in first position. And some boards have no bets in second position. And
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you which ones they are. But I remember that from our study. Mike or anybody else, did anybody have a sense from the study of what kinds of boards second position had bets in?
I think it's, my name's not Mike, but I
No,
think
anybody.
it's,
Or anybody?
I think it is similar to heads up SRPs where king, queen flops are good, if I recall.
Broadway boards?
Well, I think I'm focused on king and king, queen here.
Hmm.
Okay.
Cause ace is a different animal.
Okay. But there's a fold, and then we just have to fold here, right? Of course we do. Backdoor, but backdoor one over, half pot bet. Multi-way,
size,
maybe
multi-way.
multi-way we have to fold here. I don't know where
Nice.
this came from.
This is,
I don't-
this is your red line instincts kicking in.
Yeah. So there you go with it. So there you
This
go
is-
with your backdoor one over and a backdoor straight.
I'm okay with this, Scotty.
All right. Thank you, Sutton.
I mean, I wouldn't, I think fold is the preferred. See, there you go.
Woo!
I think the fold is the preferred, maybe. But you know, again, with the problem is the queen and the 10 connect very nicely with a guy who is gonna call behind to your open here.
Yeah.
And so I think my preference would have been fold, raise, call. Like, I don't think you want to call. I think a lot of guys might see this and think, let's get a call in here.
Yeah.
Like that's no good, I don't think.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting to see what Skate's going to do now on this king turn though.
Yeah. What do you want to do on this king turn? Don't ask me. I'm the one who check raised this nonsense.
Well, I guess as played,
Yeah.
that was pretty spicy. I would bet for thin value. Or
Alright.
just bet for hopefully some value.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Thanks, guys.
I don't see them betting villain betting anything on a flop that contains a king in it. That didn't raise pre-flop. Best he
King
could have is
jack?
probably
King jack, he could have bet as a bluff and then called. I blocked that, for the king. King jack. King queen he can have. Ugh.
you think he could have king queen that didn't raise pre-flop?
Yeah. Yeah, this
okay.
guy, I do think this guy can have king queen because he has a flatting range. We've seen.
Okay.
But it's
Okay,
hard to have
okay.
king queen suited. It's really hard to have king queen suited because that's king queen of diamonds only.
So I think with this
Mm.
kind of hand, this class with the marginal kicker, playing out of position at this stack depth, I think I prefer a check here. You just called your check raise.
Yeah.
And of course, just what he has, which is a pair of queens, is in his range, but I think I prefer a check out of position. It gives you
Yeah.
some information.
Okay, so Larry, here's my thought about that, which is if you check and he does the worst and he jams, do you want to fold your king here?
If he jams, so he would jam.
Yeah, just some
What,
weird,
like-
you check and he just jams. He just jams. It's the
So
worst that can happen.
I think it's a low frequency play, but, well, the first thing I'd ask myself is that. Okay, so my first question would be, am I beating his value? The answer, I think, would be no. I think I would have a pure bluff catcher. Then I would ask, am I blocking any of his bluffs? Kinda, because maybe he does
Not
this with
really.
8-9. 8-9 of spades.
Yeah,
Not blocking
8-9, 8-9, jack, eight,
that.
but he doesn't have jack eight.
That would be a really, really awkward spot, but. And I don't know if it'd be influenced by the cards. Frankly, if he were to jam. Which I think is not gonna happen very often. I could probably lean towards folding.
Right. So I guess the real question here is, do I want to be playing for stacks? If I want to be playing for stacks, I want to bet this turn. Because betting 82 on the river is too big after check. So I want to bet, half pot, 20, something like that to set it up for the river jam. But do I want to be jamming king eight? I think I don't.
Yeah, I think this hand class, out of position, I think this hand class benefits from a check.
Yeah,
And then we gain information
right,
from his sizing.
right. Now,
or
what
his
about,
check.
now what about this other argument that's probably completely wrong? And I want someone to correct me on it, because this is from limit poker, which
Mhm.
is if he's got a flush draw, which he can easily have now, I bet now when I get on the river, he either gets his flush and I lose, or he doesn't get his flush and I get no value. Now
I
is the
think,
time that a
I think
flush.
that's an excellent counter argument.
Yeah, that was my thinking initially.
That is an excellent counter argument, and I think that is totally valid and a reason to bet.
Yeah, and I think that's back from, I think that that's true back in the Harrington on Hold'em book. I think he talked about that. But I've heard more and more now saying, no, no, this is a two street hand, check and let the flush draw bluff.
I mean, so you,
I don't
so
know.
his range is super filtered, right?
Yeah.
To upfront value, top of range traps and high equity draws.
Yes,
So yes, you are totally right that third hand class, you are going to miss value.
Yeah.
But I think from what I've seen out of position at this stack depth, we're playing less an extracting value game than we are a defensive game,
okay,
especially with this hand class.
all right.
Now, I'm not saying solver's right to do that or wrong. I think that's what happens usually. How we can do this.
That's what I did.
So yeah, I think you're gonna get max value. Now you've got products to call.
I hope so.
Fast.
There we go. Yep, okay. Oh, good. This is not gonna be me losing money. Larry, you're up.
Okay. So, we get to open the ons this early. The nines should actually go around. I think king three is probably a, oh. So this is an RFI from UTG, raise and take it.
Yep, this is a,
But I bet the king three defends.
yeah, that king three is a fold. There's a little bit of there's a little bit of king four and king five there.
But we've got a broken stack there, and I think he's gonna defend.
Oh, the
He's got
broken
a
stack.
suited combo.
The broken stack probably makes this worse defense, probably.
And definitely.
If anybody wants to look that up, feel free, because I'd be interested in how that affects these, but my instinct tells me these suited hands go down in value.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rich, and to answer your question, in pre-flop, cash is boring tight.
Yes, yeah, hello, Rich.
Profitable poker, profitable high rate cash poker is boring.
All right, here we go. So he calls.
So Villain 25's got an interesting spot here. So what's his SPR? Like 4. So 5. So, I don't want to check here. This is as dry as it gets.
It does not get drier.
So I think I would check here a lot in position. She doesn't particularly like that card. We should bet now. I mean, so you probably want to think 6. So now it's a possible, so a lot of aces are gonna call, ace X is gonna call. I might pot it now. I have some urgency now.
Close two. That makes sense.
And, so does out of position check. So you're too high up in range. Well, sucks. This sucks. This is an excellent donk.
I like it.
So ace is a huge part of big blind's range. You're in the blender.
Big
I-
blind has sixes.
You're in the blender. Yeah.
Yeah.
MG,
big blind, it went check, check on the flop. The guy gave on the flop, the set check behind
it's a very clever donk.
on this super dry board that just got wetter and then got moist.
And he let turn. King free.
Well, you've
Oh,
got,
Three
I mean,
quarters,
so your
call
top
with a
set is
straight.
now pure bluff catch. I
and
would
how
roll
many?
this. I would roll this in game. I would roll this and I would call maybe 40% of the time. Fold
Even
60%.
if he's allowed to bet, he's not allowed to bet with sizing.
The king three?
Yeah, yeah. Rivers, if you lead, it's almost never polar. You bet with a lot of range, so you just size down.
Gotcha. One answer, just I want to go back to one thing that was in the chat. Skate, suited adds about 3% to your, you said 3% to your equity. It's about 4%, but that's close enough. But you got to remember that when you think about a hand that has equity of 30% compared to 33%, you go, well, that's just a 3% difference. That's a 10% difference. 33% is 10% better than 30%. That's how you compare them. And if you picture it in your head, you'll see why. Percents are not always the right way to think about things mentally, but
Mhm.
it's the additional to it. So it's a significantly better hand. Now, when you look at its equity, when you're compared to the other hand, so compared to itself, it's 10% better. Compared to the other hand, you go, well, I needed 35%. If I was suited, I would be 34%. If I was offsuit, I'd be 30%. So I have to fold them both. Then yes, then you look at it that way. I hope I've confused everyone enough with that very, very bad explanation.
No, you did initially, but from what I took from it was it's one thing comparing a hand to a hand when you could see it cards face up, and another when you can't.
Sure, that's true too. All right,
Yep. Thank you.
there we go. Okay, so that was a level of entertainment.
That was interesting. Yeah.
Okay, sixes. This is, let's see who is up. Mike.
All right, sixes are gonna be folded and or raised. This particular combo, I would raise it myself, due to randomization. I often fold sixes here this early. Queens will three bet, and they should take it, although sixes can call on a low frequency basis, but
Right.
I'd probably
Yeah.
fold it to a three bet.
I
Right.
think I'd fold against a broken stack. I'm not gonna have my full pot outs.
Now, if I was playing this hand now, I would be raising this particular combo 100% of the time. This is a 12 to 25% raise here. We're in the pre, so this is a 12.5 percenter, but this is 12 but spade heart is 12.5%. So there's my raise. There's the re-raise. It's gonna cost me 6 more. 5.5 more. And he's got 79 behind. So I call.
Bink.
Sometimes that happens. This is too bad.
You're just checking pretty much range. The queens are gonna, they could have some C bets here, but also check behind. They decide to bet small. And at this point, your sixes, I think I like a check raise now due to the small C bet and the hearts and the ace. I think it's good for you to check raise now.
Right. And what size? This is the AI solve. This is the solve of the 9-5 deuce.
Where
And
the
it's-
guy donked.
Right, right. And it's check, and there was a check. Then the check, we bet. And this node, what node are we on here?
It's the river. River has no.
This is the
leads.
big blind node on river with, there was question about whether or not there were leads.
All right, and
And
doesn't have them, but he,
yeah, I mean, a couple things to like note here. I mean, if we want to go back to this, the flop node had a lot of leads, had like a 35% leads by big blind.
Mhm.
Which I think has been something that people have talked about before. It's pretty rare
Yeah.
In live, with humans, that they really have that strategy there.
Yeah.
And then, and this board is bad for us as under the gun opener. And then
Yeah.
the big blind, and then big blind on turn, when it does go check, check, we are also going to be leading a lot
Let's
on the
since you-
turn.
since we solve this. Let's finish this hand and then let's switch over. Let's just look at that.
Okay, I have it all inputted,
Yeah,
so we can, yeah.
Keep it up. We'll look at it. I'm surprised that there are leads on that board. 9 high, but without a made straight. I thought we needed a made straight available for the lead, so
You'll-
that surprises me.
You'll find a lot of leads from big blind versus a very early opener when they're just like
When the
all
board is-
everything, anything below 10.
Gotcha. So when
And
check
you-
raising here, Mike, what size you want to check raise to?
Yeah, gonna check raise relatively large, probably like 4x here, probably like a 20. I think a pot size raise is gonna get you into the 25 range. But yeah, I'd probably go like 20.
And whatever it is, we need one that sets up a comfortable 3-street jam against his aces.
Oh, I don't know.
That would definitely make 3 streets okay.
I don't know. I think we want to do it in 2.
Okay,
Yeah, so if you go 25, then you can make it 2 streets.
18,
I mean, there's only 2 streets left, so.
right. Yeah, if he calls this, there's 36 goes in, we'll be at 53. And he will have about 50 left. Oh, this is a good size. We'll be at 53 and he'll be at 60 right now, so we can jam the turn or we can bet, sort of half pot, quarter. I mean, yeah. So this is easy, but he's too good.
Yeah, if I'm queens,
Yeah,
because
With the heart, it's tough.
not the queen of hearts.
if it didn't have the heart, I probably would make it an easier fold. But with the heart,
I think
might
in
call.
theory you call with the heart.
Yeah.
But
I think it is kind of hard to have. I mean, you can have a lot of heart draws here.
Yeah.
But when you have, I think, is the queen of hearts good because it like blocks, queen jack
Blocks his
suited,
bluff.
maybe
Right.
king queen suited type hands, like,
I
and that
think you
eliminates
need-
flushes,
I think
Yeah.
you need
flush draws.
the call here, but we'll
I think
check that one
think
too.
in theory you call because you can.
Yeah.
Like 3% of the time you fold.
Larry, why don't you just put this one in while we do the other one.
Oh, sure.
Right. And if this had gone the other way, if I had not check raised yet, if he's a good player, he's probably gonna check the turn. And so I get 1 bet, in on the river. Yeah, so I play this way against his aces and I just lose. Okay. Let's take a look at the previous hand in solve. Sutton, you've got this one?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Right,
I've
good.
never shared with you guys before here, so let's
Okay.
just make sure I got the right.
Command Shift S or Control Shift S, depending
I
on
think
what.
I got it.
You got
I
it.
think I-
There you go.
Okay,
All right, here's our
so you
solve.
guys can see this. All right, so let's just make sure I got all the parameters right here.
Yep.
We were 9-handed. I got it 50 NL.
Yep.
This, so I think a couple things. So there's our range. Big blind calls with this range.
Yep.
And then, so here's the flop and we have we have a lot of leading here. 32%, by big blind.
Could you show equity curve versus
Yep.
undergun?
And so you see like equity is in, under the gun's favor by a smidge. But you can also see equity realization is, gonna be difficult here. As well, because I was, and it's kind of weird, like the equity realization, normally we think about playing in position with equity realization is gonna be greater. But I think there's gonna be a lot of bad cards. Any other low card to this board is just like really difficult.
Yeah.
For under the
think you're
gun.
probably right.
I've never seen this before. That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's kind of wild spot. But I suspect most players are checking.
Yeah.
Just like as their default big blind strategy. I don't think that many people are leading here.
Oh,
Um,
big blind flats, ace, king, pre-flop, right?
it
Yeah,
does some flatting, like some flatting with ace king in
Yeah.
the pre-flop strategy. You can see here.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, and just.
And then, and the other, like, here's the under the gun node. And it's interesting. We were like, a lot of us had this kind of assumption around checking the top set
No.
as kind of but it's not. It's just a lot of betting with the top set.
Interesting.
Well, I think the reason we also thought about checking is because the stack sizes were pretty low.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
He only had 30.
oh, he
big
only had
blinds.
30.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point, Mike.
right.
I can't make it. I can't, and I can't do
It
that.
doesn't matter,
Yeah.
it's
No,
just
no.
like, let's watch what we have.
Yeah, the SPR was driving the check.
Yeah.
And versus low jack, we don't lead this much, right?
Say that again?
Versus low jack or high jack, we don't lead this much, right?
We
I
don't
would
donk
expect
as
so,
much. in the
yeah, if
big
you
blind.
make, if you take the razor at from under the gun and put him in the low jack or the high jack, we're probably not gonna have a lot of these leads. That's what we believe. So
Yeah. Sure. I mean, part of the reason we have leads is it's a more condensed, clearly defined range in
Yeah.
UTG.
And then I guess the next kind of interesting thing was, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of leading here on the big blind on the turn, and even more
Wow.
like once it goes check, check. But again, I don't think that people are leading like this on turn after it goes check, check. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Because it shows weakness from under the gun, but
I would. This one I
Yeah, me
could.
too.
Yeah, I could definitely find these. Just go. This board
Okay.
misses you completely. You check the flop. This turn doesn't help you.
yeah. I mean, so
Interesting.
Check raise,
And
yeah.
when we check, we basically usually don't have much because we bet everything good on the flop.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, 250% lead. Very cool.
so it's kind of,
And what's the preferred size here, just across the board? This is
250 or half pot.
the smaller size here.
the smaller size and
Is-
then giant, smaller and giant.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you have you have small sizing and then you have B250. So,
Yeah. But that B250 is prominent. That's something.
yeah, I mean, B250, interesting with a lot of 6X as the,
So do we just have more ace three suited than UTG? Does UTG not have ace three suited in its RFI?
let's see.
No, UTG raises ace three suited.
So ace
it's-
three
Oh,
is
very
very
little.
Yeah,
little.
but barely.
I'll bet.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty small portion
Low
of the strategy.
frequency.
Yeah, it's like very
And we-
small.
So
And we
that
never
must,
fold it. We never fold it. We raise it a little bit and we call it a little bit, but we fold none of our ace three suited against an under the gun raise.
so my theory is that that's what's driving our
Actually, I don't know if that's true.
Well,
overbets
then-
here is that we're the
Yeah.
only ones with the straight.
We fold no suited aces from the big blind to any position. And we vibrate around which ones we raise. With the low ones, always having some 25 to 50% raises.
So anybody want to see anything else here?
Yeah, could you change to the lower rake on NL 500? And leave same position, but you'll need to input everything again.
We don't get that in nine max. We don't get NL.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
gotta go
good.
to this. Yeah.
Alright,
I didn't.
Can I have a quick one.
Yep.
On the big blind node right after flop, can we look at range versus range and just? Oh, I'm sorry. On turn, when we have the straight available. So I'm just curious. Yeah, so I was just curious if we had a non-advantage, out of position, but we don't really.
the big blind has the nut advantage on the flop.
Yeah.
In a very funny way. Cause we've
Yeah.
got deuces and fives that under the gun doesn't have. But then when you get to medium, so you're looking now at the turn, I'm saying right on the flop. We've got the nut advantage, then he's got the good hand advantage. then we've got the medium hand advantage, and then he's got the everybody missed advantage.
Yeah. So would you mind real quick, filtering for just straights? Let's just see who has more straights in.
Okay, yep. So I'm trying to filter
Just-
straights. Yep.
So big blind is got a lot more straights. So I think that drives our ability to overbet here. Because we've got pretty clear uber nut advantage.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate
Has
that.
0 3/6s. We should have no 3/6s, but
Yeah,
Mm.
there's just like, I
but
mean,
we
if
have
you
ace
just-
threes.
all right, you guys good?
Right, we're good.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
Larry, did you have one that you were gonna look, show?
Sure,
on
I'm
that,
happy to show. So we were curious
Francis?
about when, so can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Have to move this window out of my way, please. So the question was, when we check raise here, right? So this is what we saw in this hand with, our hero Scotty sixes. Check on 3-up pot. Bet. Then we took about this size. The question was, what do we continue with? With our under pairs to the ace, and it looks like we really want to have the heart.
Yeah.
Here, here.
Yeah, so it's the
That was-
opposite. We're not worried about blocking the flush, the flush draw bluff. We're worried about not having a flush draw, emergency out.
I think that our, well, I think our strategy is driven by the 3% that we
Yeah.
think the flush.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
backdoor trumps any kind of block of properties.
Yes. And so I deserved that extra 10 big blinds or 12 big blinds. He should have paid me. He should have paid me.
Pay that Scotty his money.
All right. And I will tell that story again next time we do that impression. We'll let it go this time. Okay. We just
Did
did
we
that.
look
So
at
it's this
this one?
direction. Here we go. Yep, we did that one. So it is this direction, and I think we're done with those hands. Queen. We did not do this one yet. This is our last one of these. We're on Mike, I believe.
I did that last end. Do we
Okay,
do?
we're on Arturus. Arturus. So the first thing you're gonna do, Arturus, is what should happen in good play world, and then what do we think is going to happen in the real world, and then we'll look.
King jack raise,
Mhm.
6s call. And that's it.
Yep, that seems reasonable. I think that's what's gonna happen too. I don't think this Jack 5 is coming in. Yep,
Check. Yeah, I check king jack.
So
Bet
sixes is an
small.
interesting spot, right? They've got this tension between trapping with their 96% equity, and building a pot.
this seems like a really good time to bet.
Oh, yeah, bet sixes.
Yeah, he
that's a
doesn't have
good-
5-7 in his range.
Oh,
he does
king
have-
jack?
The king jack doesn't have 5-7 is in his GTO range,
No,
but he does have ace 7 and ace 5, and he does have diamonds. And he does have all the overpairs still, so
Versus big bet. I
but
call.
this shouldn't be a big bet, but I don't think this is I don't think that we're allowed a big bet on this board. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe since he doesn't have 5-7, we are allowed a big bet. Okay,
Check.
I think this, okay, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so king jack check, sixes. Go. I think it splits, right? I don't know. If it splits,
tough.
goes forward.
Yeah.
It splits between small bets and big bets. Sixes here probably a bad spot.
Alright, and what he does is he
I think
goes,
it's also fine. King Jack. It sucks.
Yeah.
Probably calls.
yeah, I think now it's an easy call
Mhm.
with that size.
Yeah, give up. And sixes have to bet whatever. 15 blinds.
You ever turning the king jack into a bluff here?
It's too late. If we didn't raise turn, I think we don't lead to a river.
Okay,
Good.
yeah, okay. It was just the pain of it. Alright. Those were those hands. Alright, so these are. Every one of these hands is going to go badly.
Did you
Uh,
filter for suckouts?
No, I just filtered for pain. Alright, Sutton. And there's a chant, and Sutton, is your first name Tim?
Adam.
Adam, alright. Thank you, Adam.
Uh,
You told
we're
me
gonna,
that, told me
we,
that before.
we should see folds to the hero on the button, open. A7 suited 3-bet,
Mhm.
that's what should happen. Um. And I think that we should see big blind fold to that action, and I think call the 3-bet is what should happen. Yeah, I'm not surprised we don't see the 3-bet from small blind. Kind of surprised we see the fold from the ace and the big blind closing the action. But
It's a good
probably
fold. It's a
it's a
good
good
fold.
fold. Yeah.
It's a discipline
Yeah.
fold, yeah.
We won.
All right, 7 deuce 4 two-tone. This board is kind of interesting because we have I'm going to assume that the small blind has more like a big blind range here. And so they're going to have good connectivity here with this board. I think this is check, and then I know what I would do. I would just auto B50 here. If it checked to me, I'm not sure that's theory correct. But I'm gonna get a lot of folds, I think. And I'm also gonna, in the Hungry Horse methodology, I'm gonna get raised by hands that are like sets essentially. And I'll filter out his very good part of his range very quickly and be able to
Yeah.
get away from it.
Yes.
So this goes check, check. Here we are with the 5 of clubs. Yeah, I think small blind. Yeah, I would lead if I was small blind. I would presume any pair greater than 7 is going to be betting on that flop texture. The 5 doesn't really bother us as the big blind here, and we have an uncapped range as the big blind, or the small blind rather, I'm sorry. And I think we have this gutter and 2 overs now.
The nice thing about our gutter, though, is when the 6 comes, we not only have, I mean, our straight is very visible, but we get called by an 8 and we cooler it. Not just a gutter.
Yeah, that
Bad
is
thing.
nice.
Bad thing, the diamonds,
Um,
one of them. And the 8 brings in a 6 and the 8 brings in a 1 card straight for him.
yeah,
So that's bad too.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's a tough spot.
yeah, I don't know here. I don't know. I don't like call. I don't like fold. I don't like raise. I don't like any of my options here.
You don't
I
like
think
poker. You don't like
I,
poker. Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna call. I think that we can win this hand with a lot of overcards. I don't know. It's gonna be really dicey.
Well,
I
if it goes check out of position, you might have some bluff opportunities.
This is a good card to do it, right? So this brings
Yeah,
in
so
the
if you're gonna,
flush.
so
But he
he-
took it from us.
I think it's a very, I think this is a good blocker sizing.
Yeah, I think to a check, we could have, a check, a bluff would be easy.
I might be influenced by the card, obviously, but
Yeah, I fold.
So I want to show you guys one thing that I noticed here in the world of study.
Mhm.
The common thing that we know, it doesn't matter where the raise comes from. We raise and we get 3-bet and it's back on us. And what are we going to do with our suited connectors? And we, and we've seen this pattern here a lot where these suited connectors, we have some suited connectors who fold and we have the lower suited connectors that call. Change his position from here, make it or make us go as the hijack and get 3-bet by the cutoff. And we're gonna see the same kind of calls and folds, right?
mhm.
And the way that we've talked about this in the past is why the 6-7 and the 8-9, well, that's below his range, below this range here. And so that's why we fold these. And I think that there's something else going on here. Because this is a really common pattern that we call these and we fold these. And that is, we have so many fewer of these than these. But the other thing that's going on is we're shaping the range that we take to the turn. So that the amount of suited connectors we have on the turn when we call, it's gonna make me get, doesn't matter what the flop is. There. You just wanna. This was the thing I wanted to show. See how smooth our suited connectors are? I think that's why we fold. I think that's why we call and fold in that way, is to get this shape on the turn. The queen jack now here is because it's being dominant. It's being, super dominated.
So what do you mean fine?
What I
Are you
mean is,
talking about our 3-bet calling range or our 3-betting range?
I'm talking about
You're
our
on
3-bet
out of
calling
position right
range.
now.
When we
What
call,
is
we're the
special
call.
about this shape?
The
Yeah.
shape is that we are evenly weighted with all these suited connectors.
Maybe you're right.
And
I,
there's
I
no,
see your point. So in other words, you're saying we've got this distribution now
right. If we had
of suited
called
connectors
all of our 10,
across.
if we had called 100% of our 10-9 and 9-8, then we would be overweighted. We'd have too many of these going forward.
I think the term people use sometimes for this is board coverage.
Right. And so the reason I'm pointing this out is that if you when you look at this range as your opening raising range, and you as a player go, well, I'm going to be playing like Nick, and I'm going to raise my 5-4 and my 6-5 and my 7-6 100%. Right? You go see these, see these 12.5%. I'm going to play these 12.5% 100% of the time. An exploit that makes sense in low stakes. If you do that, then when you get 3-bet, you should not be calling these 100%, even though they call 100% here.
That's a good, I think you can look at, this is something that what you're saying right now, Scotty, is something that I've seen studying. If you raise, like in our hand, we raise from the button.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get 3-bet by the small blind, big blind, whoever, you'll see that. Because we do raise our suited connectors at a high frequency, but now we have to start folding them because we have too many combos.
Yep. See that? We used to think the 5-4 is better. That's why we're playing it. It's better because it's below all of his raises, right? I believe that the reason is different.
Board coverage.
The reason is, yeah, I can't hit it again, is that so on the next street, we have a nice even board coverage here. So if you've made adjustments to your opening ranges where you're playing these suited connectors a lot more, then you need to fold them more when you get 3-bet. You can't go, oh, the low suited connectors are 100% call.
I see your point. I think you got a valid argument.
Yeah, so that was the thing that I have spoken to nobody better than us about this yet. But that is my new working theory. All right.
Now you need to turn that into a dissertation.
Exactly. All right, Adam, you're up. No, I'm sorry, Arcturus did the last one. Adam, you're up.
I think I did the last one, but I can go again if you want me to.
All right, go again.
All right, let's see. Looks like we're gonna have, we got a poster here.
Mhm.
I don't think it's gonna make much difference from the early position. Should fold. 6-9's gonna check. King Queen's gonna open. I would open to 5 here. Probably 4 is fine. The 6s here. I think the range of big blind responding to cutoff open is very heavy 3-bet and very limited calls. I would say 6s exist on as a small frequency 3-bet in theory, and a high frequency fold is my guess. I don't know that for sure. I think it's going to play as raise by king queen and call by 6s. Everybody else folds.
So my argument for flatting where hero is on button, notwithstanding that we have position, is that the great majority time, maybe not great majority, 60% of the time, this limper is just gonna call. And then now you've got your set mining against 2 ranges.
Possible.
And you like set money against 2 ranges more, right? Because
And
you're not worried about set over set. You want to make sure someone hits something when you hit your set.
yes, I am not, you know,
You're
with
not
respect to
listening.
Joey, I'm not as concerned about set over set. Are you looking for,
I was looking for, not that. I was looking for just this. This is all I was looking for.
our boy Little's making a deep run. Did any of you guys watch him last night? He,
Good for him.
end of the day with 400,000 chips in the main event. He
Nice.
sun ran at like midnight my time.
Well, maybe he might win it again.
I don't think he's ever won the main event.
No, he's won the
Oh.
He's world poker tour, I think, twice.
Right. Not the big shot.
So our 6's action is not very different between a 3 and a 2.5. The 3, it's a little thinner. But it's that mix there. And then in this case, we have 1 big blind of dead money. That's good. And he only raised it to 3, which incentivizes us in. We've only got 81 big blinds, so that's not great.
Yeah, I maybe I am a little bit of a sucker for set mining because it's so damn easy to play, but.
Yeah.
I think you're now against 2 ranges and I like set mining against 2 ranges. This, obviously, I think the 6-9 is gonna fold, but.
Yeah.
60-70% of the time you get a call here, especially against this size.
And this 6-9 is almost never gonna now check squeeze. Hey. We like mistakes. We like it. This is probably not, this is egregiously bad. This probably is not. This might be okay.
No.
The 2-4, it's in the, no, you're right. The boomerang is gonna be like that. The 2-4 is gonna be out of it, but these probably are in it.
I don't know.
You gotta
Raise,
be
call.
You're gonna play out of
pretty tight.
Look at it. Look at it.
Yeah, it's got more in there than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then raise, call. Nothing here. Holy, look at the difference here. This is not right. This is not because of a half a big blind difference. This is a different analysis. You know what I mean? You all understand what I'm complaining about here, right?
What was the first one we saw? How was
This
that?
is- This is a 2.5 big blind open followed by a call and a call. We're ignoring the hijack limp, the hijack post.
So you're in the pre-flop only.
Pre-flop only, right? So here is our 9-handed and here is our 6-handed. And it says he doesn't want to play anything here from the big blind. And now I'm going to prove that this is that there's no such that
There's
that
no
all
such
the
thing as GTO.
not work. Because
or
this is an
Santa Claus.
incredibly extreme version of it.
Yeah, the bunching effect doesn't seem like it should be that.
No, it's the way the pre-flop only is calculated, even though it is still 2.5s and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we have cutoff raise, button call, small blind call. This is 2.5 again. Big blind. Oh my God, it is the half pot. It is the half a big blind. I could not be more wrong. If my name was Wrongy Mixed Wrongingstein. 2.5. Lots of hands play, even the deuce 4. 3. Right. I return you to your original lives. And now the 6-9, I think, is gonna call. I think he's going to. He doesn't. Anyway,
Hmm. I think we're gonna see a lot of checks. I think it's gonna check around to button here. I might consider stabbing for like 3 or 4 bigs here, like with this hand. I mean, we're gonna,
okay, pretend you don't know their other hand.
well, I'm assuming that these hands are cruddy. Like, I'm not expecting these to be well-constructed ranges. The only one that I'm really worried about is cutoff.
Right.
And cutoff can have a lot of just like overcards,
Mm-hmm.
hands, that we can fold out for a small price. Like and we're gonna have a hard time on turns.
Right.
There's just gonna be a lot of turns that are really troublesome. So I think if we want to try to win this, this is our time. And we can do it for a pretty cheap price between 3 and 4 bigs. And we get a ton of folds.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to see turn and river for whatever price we want to see them. I
Yeah.
think.
And if
So
we get check raised,
that's
we
what I
just
would do.
fold. And if we get check raised, we just fold.
Yep.
Right.
I would check back. All right,
Mm.
so I think it's it's very likely to check through. Yeah, if I started on this line, I'm not going to check. I'm not going to be betting here. I'm going to continue to check.
Told you it was gonna be unpleasant.
It's gonna check through again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bluffing from the bottom of the deck.
Yeah, I mean,
An ace would have already bet, he says. A 9 would have already bet, he says.
he's kind of in he's in one of the positions that he could have a lot of aces here, and have checked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's credible, I think. So I think it's, oh, geez, I don't, okay. And then
Credible, but he's not being believed.
he's not.
Or another way to put it is he's not being believed that he has an ace more than 70% of the time.
I would not know. I could not make this call with the king high.
I don't think it's a thing that you want to do frequently.
think-
No, maybe if you were closing the action, maybe.
Yeah,
Right.
you do it from
Not
this
now.
position, if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, good point. If you're closing the action,
Yeah,
that is quite a ballsy call.
So I have to ask. We believe this, right? We believe this difference. Hold on, let me hit the button that loud.
Between 3 big blinds and 2.5 big blinds.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a really good question. And I, uh, I'm not gonna put it in the Bible and say that's absolutely the range.
Yeah.
But I think we do see dramatic differences between 3 bigs and 2.5 bigs. More than we would expect,
Yeah.
but this seems rather extreme to me.
It seems so extreme because
I mean, we're not even set mining. It just doesn't.
yeah,
I mean, I just like piggyback on this point about the change in strategy from increase in just a half a big blind open. We were messing around the other day, some other guys with the pre-flop ranges with 4 and 5 and 6, 7 big blind opens, and it was pretty impressive, just like the difference between a 3 big and a 4 big open, you
Yeah.
know, and in the tightness of your response. And so I think in solver world, it makes a big difference. I think it's kind of a dramatic example, but at the same time, I think the machine views it as a not inconsequential difference when the open sizing changes that dramatically.
all right. 5-4 and 6-5 offsuit, I mean. All right, back to it. This is me. Fold, 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 fold.
Just did
fold.
it.
Oh, we did, oh, this is this one. We just did this one. This was the, we did this one? Yes,
Yep.
we, that's right, we did this one. I'm going the other direction. I gotta go there. Nope, I gotta go there. Now we're doing it. Here we go. I have to go down. All right. Fold, 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 queen nine too early, queen nine and the button is a raise. So small blind, 7-10, 10-7 suited, absolutely, that's a raise. No
Against the
problem.
broken stack.
Well, there is a broken stack to it, yeah.
I think people overfold. I'd probably.
Yeah.
I'd probably do this.
If anybody wants to look at the short stack version of this, I think I've got it. Let's just look at it, how the small blind changes in the short stack to the short stacked version, but playing it out. Straight draw, backdoor straight, I mean, real straight draw, real overcard, backdoor flush draw, I can bet. You do a lot of checking out of position, but that's not as true in small blind versus big blind. I don't think. I think you continue your aggression, small blind versus big blind a lot.
I think there's a lot of checking.
Is that true?
I think
Yeah.
generally there's a lot of checking.
Turn this into a check, but this
You've
hand can
got-
certainly check raise.
This is a lovely check raising hand. I think generally the way I look at it, and anybody on the call can correct me, is that, blind versus blind SRP, your SPR is big and you've got super wide ranges.
Yeah.
And so, again, out of position, you're gonna play a defensive game, and a lot of that defensive game is gonna start with a check.
And I believe, I think it was Arcturus who said tomorrow that we should actually look at, range for, small blind versus big blind, work on that.
Okay.
And Larry
Oh, it's
countered
too
with
hard,
that is
yeah.
just such a monster.
But it happens. It's a monster we have to learn.
Yeah, I don't mind. We could do that.
We didn't do it last week. All right.
A
Blind
lot of
versus-
good players actually they check range when it's small blind, big blind. They raise small blind, and their strategy is to check range on
Okay.
virtually any flop.
Okay, I have to start
Yeah.
doing that, because I don't,
I looked at board today, ace five deuce, and it checked like 80%.
Okay.
But in MTTs, but still.
We got check, right?
no, I
No.
was bet call
Okay.
and
So I think you really like a check here. It's not my turn, sorry.
No.
I certainly don't mind a check here. The
Don't
thing to dri- oh, yeah,
Don't you think like too many 9-8, queen 9 checks back?
yeah, he's got those. And again,
6-5,
on the thing
whatever.
of clubs, we get paid by clubs now. We don't get paid by clubs on the river unless we're beat. No straight, the only straight that came in was the 7-8. And that raises sometimes on the flop, sometimes. And we have a 7 to block it. And we have no clubs to block that. So yeah, let's keep betting. We bet big. And he calls. This is not gonna end well. And now this is an easy check, right?
Yeah, this is like the worst card in the deck.
And is this going to ruin my river call efficiency number? No, at least I did that. Okay.
Can we put this into solver?
If you want to, sure, absolutely. Then we can see that, we can see what that, yeah, you put that in solver and I'm going to look at,
If we're gonna put this, can you do the full run out?
yeah, I'll put up the full run out and I'm also gonna now see how it, I'll look up how this changes in short stack. I think we have a short stack available now. Change. Type classic. Size, yes. Pre-flop only. Oh no, pre-flop only, it's locked. Post-flop included, it's not locked. 50. Thank you. Thank you very much, GTO wizard. All right. Small blind. 10, yeah, we're still. So the difference in, we've seen this one. This is not that different a small blind strat. The 3-5 is being less represented here, but this shape, I know this shape. This is really similar. I'll put them both up next to each other while you get that ready. Okay, same thing. We want to be. Change. We have to go to 6 max to get it. 6 max, 100. Post flop included, small blind strategy. So here are the things we're looking at the difference of. You wanted to see how there we go. So you wanted to see what the smaller,
This is 50 bigs
Done.
versus 100 bigs.
this is 100 bigs. I'm sorry, this is the 50 bigs. Notice the 3-5 suited that is a normal raise in the small blind. Here goes down, but it's just so similar. I don't think you need to learn this difference.
Agreed.
So
I
that,
do wanna look at this, salt.
or I don't think I'm gonna learn this difference.
All right.
More accurate.
Yeah. Thing that looks like a solve, that's it. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
So we're yeah, we're checking this a lot, just to see if this kind of. So with these wide ranges, even though we've got a range advantage because big blind's like in the top of range, the number that really sticks out to me here is
Yes,
equity realization.
Yeah.
And this is just like a standard flop. Obviously I can show flops, but I think we would see this across a lot of flops.
Yeah.
And this, I think, drives a lot of check. I
Mhm.
mean, we've got a nut advantage here too. But we're just. In this wide range versus range, we're just doing a lot of checking.
Mhm.
So. We have 10-7 of hearts. And we can, of course, mix in some betting, which we do, right? What size did we
Yep.
use?
We used the small size is my memory. Let's see if that's right. That sounds like me. Yep, we bet. Oh, actually, we bet close to half pot.
So his king, queen is calling, because I guess it's the very top of his flatting range, right?
Yeah.
This flatting range. King, queen, ace, jack. What's the call here?
And
And
now, and go back one node. Let me just see our side. We chose the 2 big blind side, but let's just look at that 10-7 and see what the sizing choices are. Yeah, so that's a nice one. The most common thing is a check. And the most common bet size is 50%. Great. Okay, I'm happy with that. Showing you that I
So we get the lucky 10 of diamonds. I think we check a lot here now with our tens. Maybe not. We mix. So let's just go look at one hand class, which is top pair. We bet more than we check. It looks like it's very kicker driven.
yes,
So the 10-7, which is kind of the bottom here. Let's
but
do
the
some
10-8
checking.
loves it. The 10-8 loves it with its blocker property.
Yeah. 10, what's the 10s? Yeah, interesting.
And then the
How's
jack
the ten?
down and then and then it goes up to queen 10. So roll over the 10-7 for a second. All right, and we'll see. When we've got the heart, we do it the most.
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
big
So-
blind have
And our,
5-7?
and our size is half pot again.
But yeah, we can mostly bet our sevens. Yeah. I mean, our tens.
It's mixing, I guess. Sutton, did you have something you want to say?
I was just kind of interested that the 10-7 and the 10-8 both have gut shots
Yeah,
as well, and kind of interesting that the 8 bets more and bigger, but the 7. I wonder if there's like some sort of like balancing effect there.
I was
I-
thinking if it's because big blind has 5-7.
because
That's
big
good.
blind has what?
Does big blind have 5-7? Does he defend pre-flop 5-7?
Yes. He
Suited,
definitely,
yes.
he defends 5-7 suited 100%.
Yeah, so that's the
Very
difference.
similar equity.
And he defends 5-8 suited 100%. So that doesn't make a difference.
Okay, so what size did you use?
I went pot.
Um. Yeah, I mean, you can do a B75 here without breaking solver. So should we give it a
Yeah.
B75?
Yeah, I can do B70. B75 is actually the preferred size of this hand or of this of the range.
Um,
Of the range. B50 is the preferred size. B75 exists and the B125 it isn't there at all, right?
they're a bit,
Yeah, but not of the 10-7, not my hand.
no,
Okay. So, a little big.
no, I think he needs to fold here. Sorry. He's sticking in there. I guess his gutter's enough.
Yeah.
He really wants.
Fold. He really doesn't want club heart, which is weird.
Doesn't wanna. He does, yeah, so he. Wants to
Doesn't-
unblock your front door.
Yeah, he doesn't want a club. All right, let's see if I
That's
can blame
interesting.
him. He doesn't have a club. He has diamond spade, the jerk.
So he calls,
100%. Never folds diamond spade.
he gets his gym card.
Yep.
Not really, but. Gym card would be offsuit. So look at this. So you're like, I'm gonna block her.
Right.
This is like, this card brings in everything. So I'm gonna block her size with the great majority of my range.
But roll
Including
over,
the very top.
yep, roll over the 10-7 and we'll see what the suit matters. No, we're not blockering.
Interesting.
Look at the 10-7. That's not a blocker. That's a only bet the value.
Yep. Let's look at all of your tens here. On this horrible. Okay, so what do we got here? Second. Yeah, so. We have to, our hand just falls into the, I'm gonna check range. Cause we're blocking. Blocker sizing. Our other second pairs here.
And take a look at the 10-8 offsuit. I wonder if blocker size requires a club.
It's right down here. Sorry?
Or the 10-8 offsuit, just roll over it if the blocker's only with a club.
Yeah. So you
no,
you
it
got a
also
good
does it
point.
with-
You
it also
really
does
do
block
wanna
that.
block it. To
But you
block it,
really want a club. You want a club to blocker it.
Yeah, I think you can simplify to having
Yeah.
the blocker
Yeah, why don't you
allows you to.
Yeah.
And then this just like, if you look where this falls in our range of hands. Now let's actually clear this. Make this more complex. Where does this fall? It's hard to see. I'm not even gonna try to figure out what goes. But yeah, so we're checking.
Yep.
All right, should I hand it back?
Yeah, I think it's time for more pain.
Could you show
Whoops,
Okay.
I could show something. What do you want me to show?
what we check raise on the flop? Because we check a lot of range on the flop.
Sure.
Yeah, if we play
So,
10 as if we played it as a check, is it a check raise?
Yeah. So we check, he bets, and what do we do with our range?
so on flop, if he checks, his most common bet size is, we'll give him a B50. We have a little bit more of a filtered check raise range. And we have pretty robust range. So our sets, obviously, are in, two pair, over pair,
Not aces.
top pair. Look, it's very interesting. The top pair is very kicker driven.
Yeah.
Choose a check raise.
10-7 does it a fair amount.
10-7 is in there. Let's look at low mid hand. So like this is gonna be 10-8.
10-8 with the back door, 10-8 with the front door.
So the
Just-
combo draw really likes this, right? So
Yeah.
clear
It loves it.
combo draw. This top combo draw really loves it.
Roll over the 10-7 just for a second. So with the, oh no, we're not, we don't count as a combo draw. So the tens, we have to turn off the filter to see the 10-7 of hearts. 10-7 of hearts likes a check raise, likes a check call.
Let's do it this way too. Let's look at breakdown here just to see. It's across the entire range, right? So let's look at the funky ones. The funky one is like 10-8. What we're talking about. Maybe down here at the very bottom, this 8-5, which we're talking about. These are the hard ones to find for me at least. And then very top of range is like our sets. Anything else you want to see?
And just,
Why?
you guys wanted to know why the 10-8 was better than the 10-7? Just pure equity. If you saw how far apart the 10-8 and the 10-7 were in that city graph there, it was. They were near each other, but the 10-8 was clearly better. 38
Yeah.
compared to 37.
Anything else, guys?
All right,
Handing it back to the alpha.
there we go. And the next painful hand. I did that one. Skate, you're up.
All right. I think a king jack off is kind of too early, so let's fold around to on the button. King 10 open. I don't know if they are or not, but let's just open that, and then definitely defend ace 10 suited in the big blind.
King jack is not too early here at all.
Pure.
King 10, this is pure. King 10 is the mix. Just to show it to you, we'll do it. See it in
Low jack.
if you were 50 big blinds, not that we are, there's your king jack pure. We're in the low jack. If you look at it, the 9-handed thing that we use as our base, there's your low jack. King 10 is pure. I mean, sorry, king jack is pure. King 10 is your mix.
Yeah, let me look at my live chart.
Yeah, look at my chart.
Yeah, king jack. I don't know. I just have this thing against king jack. I don't know. Maybe I'm like biased against king jack off. I don't know.
Oh, no. Here's where your king jack is mixing and ugly. And then under the gun 1, it's like, bleh, it's a sliver.
Okay.
You know, but it's even represented there. But here, if you simplify this, don't play your king 10 at all, don't play your queen 10 at all, stick them all in queen jack and just go right across the board like this. All your offsuit jacks and your ace 10 is a nice, simple, easily remembered, GTO approved, a GTO adjusted approved, won't screw up any of your frequencies. This will be great.
Now,
It's-
if you were playing live, how would you adjust, or anybody else?
I'd still play this. I'd play this exactly. There's no reason not to play queen jack live. Now, if you're playing in a live game where you have to open to 6x, for some reason, like you go, you've made this bizarre adjustment where you say, I should be doing 6x opens live, and I don't agree that you should. Then your king jack is gonna go away. Cause let's look at the biggest tool we have for this. Let's look at the 3 big blind tool. Here we go, 3 big blinds from the low jack. Oh, even there, it's 100% in the 3, so. And the queen jack is less represented. There's your difference between 2.5 and 3. All right. Play your king jacks.
So
Although
this
now-
is where hero is an interesting spot.
Yes.
If he's early.
Right. So king jack king jack 2 earlier is a sliver. It's not never done. It's a sliver, but it's not the top half of 2 earlier. So this is a Joey fold. With no information, this is a Joey fold. If you then have said that this guy is limping too much, which he obviously is, and you just decide to play your range from here, it's still a fold. And if you think he's a terrible player, which we don't have that indication, then the king jack. So this is probably a better fold than what I do. But
I don't think I mean, you are declaring you've got a hot shit range.
I am.
I don't know. This is a tough one.
I mean,
I'm not sure what I would do. I think it
think
would
you-
depend on the table. Sorry, Skate.
no, I was just saying that I think usually you're gonna have the best hand pre-flop with the king jack.
Yes, but the issue is that you've got 1, 2, 3. You've got 6 people 5 people to act behind you,
Right.
which have hands. And so that's the reason I had hesitancy.
Yeah, this is not an egregious mistake. But this is quite aggressive. Because what we've chosen is we've chosen to take our full range in this position as our ISO squeeze range rather than the top half of 2 before, rather than 2 before, rather than the top half of this. Because this isn't the top.
Yeah, this is an interesting. I'm curious what other guys are doing. Like, Mike, what are you doing here with this king jack?
I would most likely ISO here, but it would depend on the players behind me,
Yeah.
and that could factor in me folding.
Yeah, I think probably it's better to be kind of conscious of player classes behind.
Having done it, so quite aggressive, maybe overly aggressive, not insane. That's how I'm declaring it, since it's my play. And having done it as played, how should these guys respond?
Yeah, I think the ace 10 is a very interesting spot.
Whose hand is this? This is, I think, Skate's,
Skate.
right? All right, Skate.
All right, I'm just gonna
As
fold
played?
around. I mean, yeah. So as played, should fold around to ace. Ace 10 may or may not call. I don't know how they play. In these kind of games, I'm guessing he's gonna. Yeah, I mean, he does have a blocker. I'm seeing 3-bet on the chat here. I don't know. Yeah, so whatever. It's gonna call maybe, and then if he calls ace 6, Right, 8-6 might call. I don't know.
So
Yeah,
Yeah, ace ten suited's in a weird spot.
this is probably a slightly better world to use for him because the raise is bigger. So his normal response to this with an ace ten is gonna be a lot of calling.
What's he do if button calls here? Look at that real quick. Yeah, he's got flats.
Starts folding even.
Check out the 4x and 8 max.
Is there a 4x in eight max?
Yeah,
New.
Ooh. Eight, I don't have an eight max. You gotta do it on yours.
Oh, I have it.
Okay, let's put it up.
Hang on.
This is gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's pretty cool. So just
YouTube, please
we had low
subscribe and
jack.
comment
Okay.
about what you're about to see.
Low jack, and then we were looking at the big blind range, right? Okay, got it. Where are you guys? Okay, sure.
And we're ignoring the open limp. We're just looking at
Yep.
how we should respond to it pure, which is not exact, this is not exactly on point because my range should be stronger than my normal low jack range. So actually will put me, let's look at this one
So-
and then let's move me back one, but let's first look at
Okay,
this.
yeah. And I mean, like,
He
yeah, so
folds
here,
ace 10 to a 4. Holy God.
yeah. And here, I mean, if you want me to
Never
move,
fold. He's just not calling.
no, like there's no, yeah, like the calling, and this is true across, like the range does not change a lot. So here it's 6, and like button 6.8. Like you just don't see the range changing. Like it's the same range.
Yeah,
Like it's just good stuff. And you know, if you want like just to kind of mess with this, like the range just tightens. Like as you make this bigger, like it's the same pattern. Like there's the 7x open, and now you're at 3%.
there, and no calls. The big blind does not defend a
No,
7x by
no
call.
calls. That's right. Yeah, and like, yeah,
This
I
is-
mean, you just look at it. I mean, it's just crazy snug, and it's just the same way. Like button is a smidgen wider, but really it's just mega tight when you see these big opens. That said, this scenario is a little bit different with the limp and then the ISO. It's not
Right.
quite the 4x.
No,
So yeah,
but it's close to, but this is close to a 4x from the from under the gun one.
Mhm.
You know, not a 7x.
oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, this is what the big blind is dealing with right now.
Mhm.
And yeah, so
But,
Easy.
but I think this poster or this limper, I think that we are disincentivized to call in this configuration with them because we're going to end up
we're inviting,
calling. Yeah, they're like they didn't limp to fold. They didn't say, "Hey, let's put this one big blind in," and then when somebody makes it 2 more big blinds, let's
Yeah.
give this hand up. Like that's not their thought process.
I don't know. What do you think about the theory that the nutted, the nutted characteristic of your ace 10 playing against a supposed fish?
exactly. I'm with you 100%.
Oh, so you're saying, Mike, to invite the limper
Yes.
into the pot because they're gonna donk off all sorts of money.
Yeah, make mistakes.
Yeah, Hungry Horse talks about this a little bit. Like, I think it's a more palatable decision on the button. I think when we are playing out of position, that becomes less of a consideration for us. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and looking down on it at the very specific hand class. Broadway ace, even out of position, is not that hard to play.
Right.
The suited ace Broadway is just not that hard to play. You're not gonna get full equity realization. You're not gonna get to win with your ace high as often as you should. But let's see what happens here. But yeah, if I were sitting here in this, I'd be very comfortable calling my ace 10 suited here. Inviting in the 8-6.
Mhm.
And now I would be very uncomfortable. I've got the best hand. It's vulnerable. I'm in the worst place for it. You know, I have the best hand most of the time.
Yeah, this is the trouble, right? Like this is one of our best hands now.
Yeah.
Like
But we
on this
do know how to
flop.
play it. This is good. We've learned how to play this hand at least. You know, we check range here
Mhm.
and we do a lot of check raising.
Mm.
And so I don't know if I like my bet, but I like my size.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like betting here.
Yeah. Good things can happen on the turn.
Yeah, because I think one of the things you're gonna learn, okay, beautiful. One of the things you're gonna learn is like maybe not on this texture as much, but there's not a lot of two pairs on this texture for
Right.
either of these players to have.
Yeah.
And you like, yes, the texture is quite dry here,
Mhm.
but so you probably see it less, but very frequently if a guy has a set, they're just gonna get their check raise in
Mhm.
right there, take the initiative back. And so it doesn't 100% cap the ace 10 player here when he
Yeah.
flats, but it gives you like some reassurance that we could be all right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Well, my thinking is, you know, pre-flop when villains, you know, multi-way when villains don't three bet you pre-flop, they're gonna have a lot of hands that contain like a 9, a 10, maybe even a jack. So,
Mhm.
so maybe with that being said, maybe check this multi-way.
But you're gonna get a lot of folds with the even
Yeah.
with your small sizing. So and
That too. So yeah, I don't know really.
and you also probably get ace high continues here, like to your sizing that you can make fold on later street.
Okay.
Now, I have not picked up any equity. Some of his calls have now completed. His 4-5, if he's got it, his ace 4 are there. And everything that he had before he had. I don't think I should continue. I'm not even looking at his ace 10 here. I think I should check.
Hmm.
Do. And he bets. And the story is over. Let's continue the pain.
I don't know. Like I've been doing a lot of Mark Goon stuff.
Yep.
And I don't think he'd give up here.
That's Hungry Horse, right?
Yeah, Hungry Horse. I don't think Hungry Horse would give up here. I think that he would recognize that this board is not good for us. We are also like, we're not going to make a 10 fold. That's never going to fold. But if we put in, so we don't want to like blast big here because this card is not really good for us. And again, with the dry texture, he could still be quite nutted. It does bring in a hand like ace 4 that we would expect he could have here. But you start to make a hand, you start to get out all of the, say, 6s through 9s that this player might have are going to start folding now.
Right.
You start making hands like Jack 10, Queen 10, King 10, which we do block, which is problematic. 10-9 starts to get worried, right? And then, you know, you see what happens on the river.
Yeah. So in my inner Mark Gutton, what's the last name? Mark
Goon.
Goon. In my inner Mark Goon, we ask the question, is he capped?
Mm-hmm.
And we look at this and we go, well, he is capped except for ace 4, which he can have, and 4-6, which he might have. So no, he's not capped here. He's not capped. So I
Which
can't
is
bet.
which drives your bet sizing lower.
Lower, right? So I have to bet small here.
Yeah, so something like, I mean, like, you're not going crazy, something between half pot and B66 probably, I would think.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna bet, so I do a sort of 12 bet here. He
Yeah.
calls,
Hmm.
right? Then the river comes the 7.
Yep.
And in this configuration, he probably checks or block bets. And I just
So-
lose, I just lose more money. The
So
diamonds,
yeah,
break
if,
off, he doesn't fold.
yeah,
Um,
but so like then,
But that's
I
just this, that's just this particular hand.
yeah, there's, and I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think on the river, like if this played out like this and we had bet half pot on turn, and then he called our bet, and now he checks to us on this river, which again is not a great river. The tens, his best hand is like a 10x hand here.
Yeah.
And the question is, can we fold a 10? And I think my answer would be no, we cannot fold a 10. Like whatever we bet, we can't fold a 10. Like maybe we could jam it and fold a 10, but even then that seems like pretty dicey.
Right.
And
And I'm just gonna say one thing in your language, if people listening, we don't mean if we had a 10, we can't fold it. We're saying, can we make a 10 fold? That's
yes, right. Yes.
what- yeah, can we cause a 10 to be folded. Yep.
Right.
Good.
And I think the answer is no,
Mhm.
but
We can make
could
it pocket 9s, pocket 8s.
4-5. So there's
4-5.
4-5 combos.
We can get 4,
We
5 to fold.
And we don't have to bet very big to make those fold.
Yeah.
We could bet, again, half pot and get all those hands to fold. And yeah, the 10's gonna call. But like, I think kind of in theory, we think of it, the hungry horse attitude is not to think about bluffing at the same size, right?
Yes.
That's foolish. Why would we do that?
Right.
Because we can get lots of folds with the small sizing.
Right.
But then when we have aces, kings, queens, jacks here,
We want to get
let's-
called by a 10, so we want to bet.
yeah,
We're gonna
let's
bet
go whole
big.
hog.
We're gonna bet big
Yeah.
on that, therefore our bluff is gonna bet small.
Right.
I
think we've done a good job kind of
Yeah.
illustrating his thought processes there.
or our version of his thought process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, having said all that, I think on the turn here, though, we can approach this on a different way, which is I can continue to barrel on a jack, a queen, a king, an ace, a 9. That's enough cards that I don't have to do it this time, because I'm gonna play this hand 100,000 times this way in my life. I'm gonna misplay it most of the time, or that is my intent. But all those other times I get to bet here. Therefore, on this card, I don't. And if I'm ever here, when I'm here with sometimes I will be here with an ace 4 suited. And therefore, yeah, so, but I won't be here with a 4-6. I'm never here with a 4-6.
No. Mm-mm.
I'm never here with pocket deuces or pocket 3s. I
Mm-mm.
am here with pocket 10s.
But even, even how this plan plays out, if we bet again here on turn, like ace 10 just doesn't love it,
No. Doesn't love it.
And then if it has to call another bet,
Yeah.
it's not a situation that this player is particularly loving, which I think also is an argument for 3-betting pre.
For him.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Right. This is Larry.
All right, this should fold around to ace queen. Ace
Oh.
queen folded. Interesting.
He had to have walked away from the table, right?
Yes,
Let's
sitting.
hope so.
That-
King 10 gets to RFI now, hero gets to RFI. And I think queen 5 gets to defend.
Queen 5 has got to defend against the button. There's no folding of queen 5 against the button. We're not
Yep.
even.
I think we're defending all our queens,
Yeah, we're defending.
all our
all-
suited queens.
Yeah, we're defending all the way down, but
So this is
Guys,
a better
we're gonna-
3-bet than a call, but we're gonna get a call here.
and I wouldn't be surprised if this 5-6 was actually in in the correct strategy here, the one that I don't play. We raise.
Yeah, I think we start folding maybe the 7, 6, 8
Nice.
region.
What happened to his calls? Does he only have them to
Doesn't-
earlier
I don't
positions?
think it gets called. And,
Oh,
oh, there they
that-
are.
Even in a strategy where the small blind has calls, he doesn't have them against the button. I never knew this. This is a lovely thing to have learned. Since I never bothered to learn his calling strategy. That he, oh no, he does. I was in the wrong spot. He does. And the 5-6 is not in there. Not good enough out of, none of these suited connectors. And I'm gonna believe the solver that that putting these in there is a bad idea. Even knowing that your big blind doesn't squeeze enough, I'm going to believe that this is a bad idea, given how much it doesn't even do it up here. But he does it. And breaks our solve. And without him, by the way, the big blind calls all his queens. I mean, plays all his queens. But with it, the big blind gets a little tighter. But it's still gonna play this one.
Even tighter than I thought.
Yep, that extra call tightens things up, but not ridiculously.
So we're gonna get our hero playing some multi-way action here.
Here's your differences of what it is, right? That's the right range. There's it
Yeah.
without the call. There, your suited side, and take a look at your offsuit side. I think your offsuit side is gonna be dramatically different. And on your offsuit side, it is dramatically different. That's where the real change comes in. But here he is with his queen 5.
Nice.
Bad play. Short stacked. Short stacked, maybe not such a bad decision, short stacked. Just to find out if it is, and then we'll go on. In our little short stacked world. Here was our short stack, 50. Button raise. Small blind at 50, has virtually no calls, but he does it. Big
Yeah, it
blind,
just gets,
queen 5, yeah, not so bad. Not such a bad choice. And look at the similarity, look at the similarity. This is almost the same, this is almost the same response as the full stack. You know, you've got these raises in this area here, and you and you play to the queen, 3, queen deuce and the jack 4. And you look at a full stack, same thing. This was the button raise, big blind. See, real similar. And so he does that. Okay. And then okay. So there we go.
all right, interesting flop. So it's very hard to play against a button range, a small blind flat range.
Mhm.
You just don't know what it is. Generally, I would bet this, and I would go like B60.
You're talking about donk betting here, Larry, or are you talking
Oh, no,
about?
he's
C-bet?
talking
No,
about,
I
he's
was not,
assuming that he checks range,
but he does not.
but he
He
doesn't.
donks it. This is a very large, I'm setting my price. This is like really mergy donkey stuff. Like usually what we see here is someone setting a price for the draw, but he's choosing to aggressively go after this. I don't, so I would knuckle this and I would call everything. This hand I think is a call here. Got a gutter, back door. So I'm not gonna pontificate on Dylan's donking strat. See what it does.
He should now check call,
Agreed.
but no,
So this is, I think, in the Nuffa world, I would turn this into, I would raise this to 20 big blinds. I would raise this to the pot plus his bet.
That would be the Nuffle play for sure.
I would choose to knuckle this.
Yeah, well, that's bad.
Um,
Yeah.
this is probably pre-knuckle days.
Yeah, I still don't nuffle.
Well, it's okay because if he checks the river now, then you can bet with this,
Yeah,
right?
okay,
With
you've
the
got
king.
lots of bluffing opportunities here.
Yeah.
I mean, so
So-
I think the one important thing to think about here is that we did have a bit of a sizing tell on turn, right? So he
Yep.
chose this very
Yep.
large size, and this is, I think, common with donkers. He chose this very large size on flop, almost pot.
75.
And this is like, what would be 75? And then now he's like, oh, I got called, shit. But I don't want to give up the betting lead. So now I'm gonna be 33. So this to me is a sizing tell. I think if he was at the top of range, like if he had nines, he had queen nine, he's going bigger here.
Right. Because if he,
So you
Oh,
as hero, I think now have an opportunity to think about how you steal this pot.
Yep.
So this, I think, is an opportunity to steal this pot. He's just in his very donkey fishy way has telegraphed the value of his hand.
right, And if-
And I think,
I could
you know,
agree,
I
or
would, bet. I would bet like between 28 and 30 big blinds here.
now, is there any discussion of, I have showdown value against missed clubs?
You have a very good point, but, yeah, I mean, there is. I just,
I have all the
and
showdown.
I'm open to the, people telling you this is too aggressive. Cause I may, but I just feel like what's happening here often in game is that, and this kind of naive play is making the value of his hand very face up, which you which you are
Yeah.
allowed to exploit now.
Yeah.
And his play is naive. He made a big bet on flop. He B33 and now he's B25 and he down bet each street. I just think you get to, I think that you've got a good point that we're gonna beat his FDs who's trying to set the price for. But I just think that he's telegraphed the value of his hand and you get to exploit that.
Right. So if I have Jack 10 here, that's an easy thing that says I have to turn this into a bluff or fold.
Yep.
My problem is that king and the kicker doesn't matter here. In the sense is if he has a flush draw, that flush draw is jack high at most, because if it's ace high, that's not a flush draw.
Yeah.
So it's jack high at most. I beat all, you know,
You beat
and
him.
I beat all jack highs.
Yeah, you have a good argument. I'm not gonna disagree with you.
Yeah, I just hate everything about poker when I do that or the other thing. Yeah, okay.
So can I ask a group like Mike or Sutton, I'm just kind of buddy checking here, if you would. Am I off base in the lead of this imposition raise? Or does this make any kind of sense?
I think I like when we get to the turn, I wrote in the chat, like whenever I see a donk like this on this board texture that I know is just, this is a good board for me and not a good board for him in theory.
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
it just like screams ace high to me, especially when they use the big sizing. Like when they use a smaller sizing, I think more flush draws.
Yeah,
And but like so I would probably just fold this. Like I know we have backdoor clubs and we have a gut shot, but like I just think that the vast majority of the time this flop bet with this sizing is a lot of ace X that's just terrified of what the turn is going to be. And maybe that's too nitty on my part
I
because
see your
like
point.
I mean, I think your instincts when you see that turn bet are let's bluff here. Let's do
So-
this.
So my instinct now, because of the little bit I know about Nuffle, I guess it's not my instinct, my learned approach to a donk is always call.
Yeah,
Because-
because then they're gonna have to like make that, they're gonna have to make, they haven't really thought through what's gonna happen. Because my other thought was, like, he could have ace five here, you know?
Sure,
Like,
he definitely is gonna have hands that are way ahead. sometimes.
yeah, but the
But
problem
my,
is,
my argument is that on turn, he's gonna tell you.
right,
Not all the time, but the great majority of the time, he's gonna tell you the value of his hand, which he did here.
and even if he has like an ace five hand, like I think you see this a fair amount of times where they donk and then they get called and then they're like, oh, wait a second. This doesn't feel very good. Like, they're not thinking in their head like, oh, this guy could have all the better aces, but they have like a pit in their stomach feeling like, oh, I don't have a great ace.
Yeah,
I might want a little bit more here, but I started betting, so I'm gonna keep betting now, with this small size.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's give him let's give him ace seven and ace eight suited. On this board, not of, okay? So he decides to donk because he has no clubs. Makes sense. He gets called. He's unhappy. He hates the six because now the one of the aces that he was beating, ace six, he's not beating anymore. And he's still losing to all the better aces. He certainly doesn't want to bet big, but he's still afraid of giving a free card. I'm just talking in his mind. Does this make sense in his mind?
Yeah.
It's there. Then the 9 comes and he goes, well, now I'm okay against every ace. And now I split with the ace jack and the ace 10. And the ace 6 that I didn't, that was beating me before. So now I don't hate it. I would like, and the 9 is in my range, so his eight, even if his ace king can't really re-raise me now. So I can get to the river for 6.5 and split sometimes and win a bunch. And get called by a queen at this size. Maybe that's his thought with an ace. And it matches this betting pattern.
yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you're gonna run into.
Yeah.
An ace that's not gonna fold, but, I'm gonna defer to Brad Wilson and his CFP and say, his MDA has shown him that
Nephilim.
1,000 times this is profitable.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and
they-
it's based on mass data analysis, right? So, I mean, I don't know the mechanics behind how they worked it out, but this is probably like classic, fish behavior that they've learned and studied and analyzed, which, they've created this strategy for this exact sort of situation.
And that would be a raise here.
Yeah, it would be a raise here. It
Okay.
would be a call on the flop and a raise to this bet.
Okay. And what's the size of the raise?
3 times his, basically pot plus his bet.
Okay.
So it'd be like 20.
20. And so just basically 4 times his betish. And that's because of the sizing tell, right? That's what did it? Because if he had
Well,
bet,
no,
big.
you would also raise I think up to like 70% or something like that. But like, again, I don't know why how the mechanics work, but it's been, it's mass
Right.
data. It's not
Yeah.
like something they just thought.
Right.
They didn't go through like your thought process. They're not trying to determine what players are thinking. They're just going
No,
by
it's-
how they're acting.
Yes. Gotcha. And so this one is, he bets pot here, we are not, he bets pot here, we just fold. Enough,
I think
enough.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd fold. So, if it's a pot size bet, then we fold. Cause he is properly polarizing and he is saying he's good hand. And I think the argument is that donkers are gonna play as a whole more face up.
Right.
So I think, facing a pot size bet, you call with pretty much any pair plus.
And in this particular hand, what happens is he bets here, we call. He bets here, we raise. He calls with his pair plus flush draw, or he jams. If he jams, we fold, but mostly he calls.
He would probably call, yeah.
This comes, if Nuffle says bluff again, it's gonna work. He's folding his 6.
So I think Nuffle would bet set B75 here.
On the river. We do bet the river. Is that-
Yes. Nuffle would continue the aggression and a B75.
Yep, B70.
Nuffle is oblivious to texture, right? Probably there's some subtleties we can put in here to board texture and runouts, but Nuffle does not take consideration of runouts.
All right, there we go. All right, more pain.
And we're here for it, Scotty.
Yes.
We're your group therapists.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. This is, I think, who's up next?
I don't know.
Who got the
does-
joy? Who got the
who
joy?
did the
Oh,
last hand?
this was skate because we talked about, I don't even know. Okay, this is Larry. If you didn't do the last one, you're up, Larry.
Okay, so king 3, I think here is pretty marginal. Generally, I think we can fold king 3 here.
This is
I
cutoff.
think we fold
Three's a
king
pure-
3 here.
King 3
Sorry?
is a pure raise in the cutoff, on the chart, just so you know.
Okay,
Feel free not to
I
play.
might
it,
be a little
probably
too tight
zero
here.
deep. Just showing you, this is what it looks like on the lovely chart. This on the this is here, it's a mix, but in the 9 max, it's a pure. So close.
Interesting.
There it is. There's your
Very
pure.
punchy.
Because you're mixing your 5. So,
Okay.
in the hijack, king 4 is a low mix. And the low jack, it's king 5, and king 5 actually mixes, but it's a high mix. So there you go. There's your little pattern. I'm
Okay,
gonna assume
so-
he doesn't know this, because if he knew this, I would be folding my 4s. And I lost money on this hand.
So king 3, I guess, then should RF, well, now your 4 is in a different place.
Right.
I generally would, you're out of position, which kind of sucks. I generally would set mine here. I don't know if that's the right play. I would call and set mine.
Right, so we have not yet talked about what our small blind strategy is going to be, and maybe we'll stop and that's what we'll talk about. We'll take a little break and then talk about that. But in this particular case, we start with, this is a trivial no-brainer set mine or a raise, the trivial. And then we look and go, oh, he's only got 35 big blinds. Too bad.
That's a
That's
very good
still,
point.
that's still 60 times my half pot bet. So there's no way we're ever folding these 4s here.
Yes,
Right, so we all agree that the 4s are never a fold here. It's just, do you raise them against the limp?
yeah, I think I need to get set. So I think here I'm 8 plus to ISO.
Okay. And I'm gonna say that against his shorter stack, they don't limp to fold as much.
Agreed.
Those
Famous
guys.
flops.
That's from Meltzer data analysis. So, yeah, this seems like just a great time to do this. And then you just bring him in. And now you're done.
That's
Adore.
good. You get to see another card. Thank you. I guess he's kind of doing his thing. Well,
That's bad. I don't know
yeah,
what-
so I think this is
That's
a little
stupid.
loose.
That's stupid. I mean, he can bet everything here, but
Yeah,
Don't make the
multi-way.
hero calls when you're the middle in the sandwich.
don't make the hero calls when you're in the middle of the sandwich. Plus, let's say that he's bluffing me with, let's say he's bluffing with queen 5.
Yeah, you still got
yeah.
villain 47 behind you.
Yeah, I've got 47 behind me, and he also has 3 jacks and 3 8s to beat me with, if he's bluffing with queen 5. This is a terrible call. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right. Yeah, that was
So this wasn't maximum pain, so it's just minimal.
now, These are not all maximum pain hands. They're just, they're just some badly played, some just bad luck.
All right, I'm gonna take a break, actually.
All right, we're gonna take a break and then we'll talk about small blinds.
Okay.
Oh, and I'll even break this into two recordings.
What are we talking, 5 minutes?
Yeah, we'll take a 5-minute break. We'll come back. We might do some more hands, but we're gonna talk about small blinds. That's
Yeah.
gonna be our change because this is a good time to do it. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording first. Hi, everybody. We don't care if you like and subscribe, but we do care if you comment. We love you commenting. If you comment, one of us will respond to your comment, probably sarcastically, especially if your comment is sarcastic.